皆さんこんにちは。国際関係学部准教授の越智めぐみです。今日は皆さんに、国際関係学とは、について、私が普段やっている講義の一部をお見せすることを通じてご紹介したいと思います。皆さん国際関係学と聞いて、どんなイメージをお持ちでしょうか。もうちょっと難しいと感じる人もいるでしょうし、普段から SNS や国際ニュースをフォローされている関心の高い方からすると、もうだいぶ知っているって思っている方もいるかもしれません。ですが、国際関係学部で、例えば私の専門の国際法であるとか国際政治学、経済学、金融学、文化人類論、さまざまなジェンダー論とかですね、いろんな議論を学んでいくにつれて、皆さんが実は持っているさまざまな価値や偏見に気がつくことを期待しています。今日は私の講義を通じて私自身の専門である国際犯罪に関する国際的な枠組みの紹介を通じて皆さんのそんな偏見の一つを明らかにしたいと思います。それでは講義を聞いてください。お願いします。
Have you heard the word genocide? I think for sure you have, because in recent years you see in many medias they use the word genocide to describe the atrocities happening in the world, the massacres or discriminative attacks against the civilian population. However, there are some scholars who argue that we should stop using this word. So in today's lecture, I'd like to discuss the reasons for those scholars who claim that we should avoid using the word genocide. And I would also like you to think whether you still want to use the word genocide, or you still think that the word genocide is needed in this world, or you may think that we should avoid using the word genocide. So first, let's check the definition of genocide, or the official definition of genocide. So this is Article 2 of the Genocide Convention, on which states agreed on the definition of genocide. In this article, it says genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such. And those acts include killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group, or forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. So those actions which were intended to destroy, persecute, or completely extinct one group from this world through the means, variety of means, like murdering, but variety of means can be invented to extinct one group from the world. So far we've seen those crimes which were called genocide against those people in Rohingya who were persecuted and forcibly transferred to the neighboring countries. Or in 1990s, we've seen the Rwandan massacre, where the ethnic groups confronted each other and killed each other, and we said it was a genocide against one group where more than 800,000 people died because of this. So the international society used the word genocide to describe this kind of situation. But there are also another word, crimes against humanity, was seen in media. And there are these two similar words. So what are the difference between these two words? Why we still use the word crimes against humanity while we have the word genocide? What are the difference between these two? So they are of always origin or the fathers or mothers of those words. Origin of the concept of genocide is this person, Raphael Lemkin, who was the Jewish prosecutor who were persecuted and sought asylum in the US. He was persecuted by Nazi Germany during the Second World War, and he thought of the need to invent new word to describe the brutal treatment of those minorities in Germany. So he combined the word side, it's a Greek word to express killing, and genos in English is gen, and he combined these two words and created the word genocide to describe this newly invented systematic killing or state's plan to extinct one group on the world. And he claimed to insert this new word genocide to the judgment against Nazis, and it was failed. The judgment against Nazis was sought by the four Allied nations which occupied Germany at the end of the Second World War, and they created this international tribunal to try and punish those high-rank officials of Nazis who were responsible for Holocaust. But his plan was rejected, and he later, however, achieved through active lobbying with powerful politicians, he achieved the conclusion of genocide convention. So now we have the convention and we have the definition of genocide. The person who were against of using the word genocide was Professor Harsh Lauterpacht. He was also Jewish, and he was a professor in the UK. And he was asked to help those government officials to deal with Nazi Germany's high officials and what kind of concepts, what kind of definitions are needed. And he suggested to insert the word crimes against humanity in the chart of the Nuremberg Tribunal instead of the word genocide. His intention was to capture mass killings of people systematically conducted by Nazis, and not really focusing on the fact that such killing was done for the purpose of extinction of a group, but he tried to focus on the individual suffering through the persecution conducted by Nazis. So to know the difference between these two concepts, let's compare these two in this chart. For genocide, it focuses on the collective nature of victim. It doesn't really pay attention to who were killed, what the names of the victims, but the concept of genocide pay attention to the fact that a group was targeted. On the other hand, the crimes against humanity focus on the collective nature of perpetrator. It tried to capture a crime committed by a huge organization such as states. So for crimes against humanity, only states or organizations which have the capacity to conduct widespread or systematic attack can commit crimes against humanity. For example, like just one person who killed many people, like a serial killer or terrorist, cannot commit crimes against humanity. On the other hand, genocide can be committed by anyone. For example, one person who is sitting in front of a computer to send discriminative messages and who's incited commission of mass killings of specific group can be prosecuted for genocide, even if that person is not belonging to any group, any organization. And for genocide, no systematic nature is needed. However, for crimes against humanity, it must be committed systematically. So even if there is no genocidal intention or discriminatory intention, if mass killing was committed by a group or state, that action can be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. So now let's think about what is problematic about the concept of genocide. Professor Lauterpacht's main reason to criticize and refuse to insert the word genocide in the Nuremberg Charter was this. The first, according to him, defining a crime based on the targeted group will lead to confrontation between groups. And the second reason is the focus should be on individual victims, not a group. So through analyzing these two positions, there can be two different types of reasons for the positions which are against the use of the word genocide. You see. So first, maybe the use of the word genocide highlights the confrontation between two groups, which means that can accelerate the division between us and them. For example, characterizing the Holocaust as genocide might lead to the conclusion that this was the confrontation between German or Nazis versus other minority groups. Even if there must have been individual connections between these two, and there are individuals who had the names, who suffered individually, and each person has their own stories. And the second type of reason can be this. Using the word genocide can undermine the needs that individual victims are acknowledged. So there must be different stories of individuals who couldn't survive the concentration camp, and who survived the concentration camp were not killed, but the person has gone through many different types of suffering. So the use of concept of word and describe everything in one word may undermine the needs of that individual cases are acknowledged. So I would like you to take some time to think about the problem of using the word which were accepted widely, and you may feel that it is as a given. And I'd like you to use this opportunity to doubt a concept which is used widely, and through this you may reach the answer. What kind of concepts are needed, and what are the problems which accompany with the use of a legal concept. So we are looking forward to have discussions with you. Thank you.
はい、模擬講義はいかがだったでしょうか。国際関係学部では私のような国際犯罪の研究だけでなく、他にも、国際金融や国際経済、貿易、メディア、ジェンダー、文化、さまざまな、グローバルイシューについてさまざまなアプローチをとっている先生たちが、教鞭をとっています。皆さんも、このキャンパスに来られた際には、私たちと一緒にグローバルなイシューについて、いろいろと議論をすることを通じて一緒に考えていければ嬉しいです。それでは皆さんまたキャンパスでお会いしましょう。